Without a goal, it's like you're on a bicycle that just falls over. You're not moving
Yes.
towards something. If you remove the goal from the equation of all these things we're talking about, we walk in circles. We don't know what we're up to, but we focus in on things that are quite trivial. In the absence of a
Yeah.
well-defined goal, we find ourselves strangely loyal to life's trivialities, and that's what happens. So center in on something that's meaningful.
Welcome to Mindset Mastery Moments, the best growth mindset podcast, recognized by Million Podcasts and ranked as a top mindset podcast by FeedSpot. We're proud to be in the top 1% on Listen Notes. Join Dr. Alisa Whyte as we explore powerful insights and strategies to elevate your mindset. Let's dive in.
All right, disruptors, let me ask you this. Have you ever wondered why two people can have the same opportunities, the same resources, the same training, and yet one person thrives while the other stays stuck? What if the issue isn't your strategy? What if it isn't your education? What if the biggest obstacle standing between where you are and where you're meant to be is the identity you've unconsciously accepted? Today, we're talking about the hidden programming that drives our decisions, our confidence, our income, our relationships, and ultimately our future. Because if your subconscious is running the show, then the question becomes, who programmed it? And can you change it? Today's guests will answer those questions for us. Welcome back to Mindset Mastery Moments. I am your host, Dr. Alisa, your number one mindset disruptor. And today we are speaking to a phenomenal human. His name is Mr. Kevin Yoder. Kevin built one of the Midwest's top real estate organizations before turning his attention towards identity transformation and high performance mindset coaching. Today, he helps entrepreneurs rewire limiting beliefs through his infinite you framework. Kevin, from the outside looking in, I just want to tell you, welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you. In your own words, tell us who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Thank you, Dr. Lisa. So happy and grateful to be here. So thank you for that. And from the inside out, I am excited to be here as well, because that's really what this is all about and what brought me to this body of work. And we were talking before you hit record about curiosity and natural curiosity. And I think it is innate. And we talked about that. I was curious about something after working in real estate as, I'll say, high performer, just by virtue of study and saying, okay, how is the average doing? So I've been in that. I built big teams and I've coached real estate agents, and then got into coaching myself through Bob Proctor's program, and then so the late great Bob Proctor. But after 25 years of this stuff in real estate, I started to realize something after coaching, after being a part of this high performance world, that from the outside in, it's funny you say that, like from the outside in, but a lot of people seem to be doing just fine. And we do just fine in certain areas and we perform in some places. But yet what I started to observe, not only in myself and others, was that this ceiling of achievement we kept on hitting our heads against the top of that. And I started to be really curious about what that was. And I wasn't okay with just saying it just the way it is, because it's not just the way it is. There's a reason for it. And you brought it up in the intro, and smart people doing extremely well and then hitting that. And I did the same. So this comes up in all forms: income ceilings, consistency ceilings, confidence ceilings, and it keeps us from really truly stepping into the version that we were created to be. And that is what has brought me to this conversation. So
Mm,
most people are trying to operate from a self-image that was formed from a smaller version of themselves.
mm,
And so when they want to set a goal that is here and their self-image operates here, like a thermostat on the dial in our thermostat in our home, it's set at a certain temperature and there's a gap there.
mhm.
And if you don't know that the gap is there, you might find yourself wandering around your house, wondering why you're so cold. Well, in this way, we're wandering around our lives, wondering why we're not able to have what we want to have, go on the vacations we want to have, be in the relationships we want to have, serve at the highest possible level, or, and most importantly, I think, tap into the gift that we've been given, which is our true, authentic zone of genius,
Mm-hmm.
our unique ability, as Dan Sullivan calls it. And that is super important because when we can find out what that is, by virtue of having a strong self-image, we not only are serving our own life and our own journey, but then
Yeah.
we're helping more people because when we're being who we are, like we talked about before you hit record,
Yes.
authenticity goes a long way, but other people then are benefiting from that. But us figuring out what we're supposed to be doing here and doing it every day, then other people are we're allowing them to do the same because they're in
Yes.
our they're in our world, you know? So that's today my work is focusing on helping entrepreneurs figure out what that is, and then bridge the gap between who they are and what their vision requires of them. And
Mm.
that's really the what drives me the most today. So there's I could share more on, my background and my family, but I'll stop there for a moment and see where this goes.
Yeah, no, that's perfect, and I feel like we are kinda, like, in the same pot cooking, except you're ahead of me, so this is, like I'm in, like, class, I'm in session, for sure, because that's what I'm so passionate about is people living authentically in their purpose, first discovering who they are and why they are, and then what they were sent or placed on this earth at this time to do, and walking that path fully. And so, like you said, first we had to do it for ourselves. So, for most people, they would say you already had success. You had real estate, leadership, coaching, investing, yet something caused you to go deeper. What was missing for you?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I would say it's a feeling. You just kind of know. So if you've done any study, if anybody's listening to this and they're thinking that they're doing well, they're so there's all sorts of levels of success and it's defined in different ways. But the best definition of success is doing the thing that you're gifted to do, and it's best described as Gay Hendricks wrote a book called The Big Leap, and in it he describes zone of genius and zone of excellence. And zone of excellence is the trap. Now that's where you find yourself making a lot of money. Your family expects you to be there. Your community expects you to be there. Even your client base, and you're known as the blank. Well, the
Yeah.
problem with being the blank is it traps us at that zone of just doing extremely well. But one thing is missing from that equation, and that
Yes.
is that fulfillment of knowing that deep down inside that there's more here for you. And
Yes.
and not so the problem with saying answering the way I did, Dr. Lisa, is that when I say feeling, all of a sudden the knee-jerk reaction from the professionals and the entrepreneurs, they automatically go to woo-woo. And I and yet and I understand that. I understand that. And I will die on this hill. This is
Mhm.
super important. It because it is a visceral feeling. If
It
you don't
is.
know what I'm talking about, then I'm sorry.
You
Figure it
don't know,
out.
you don't
Go there.
know. We know, and
You know.
you'll get there at one point, and it'll hit you like at some point in your life. Hopefully,
Yeah,
a
and
lot
so
of
how
times
do you
we're
know?
getting the feeling, Kevin, and we don't realize it. We keep ignoring it because it comes like
Yeah,
this, and then it gets
yeah,
louder. And for me, that's the catastrophic thing. But I don't want to take your episode further because I've had it happen where I was feeling it and I ignored it, and then physically I started to shut down because I was ignoring it.
yeah, yeah. There's a way there. If you really pay attention, you'll
Mhm.
you'll feel something just missing. Like I'm
Mm.
missing something. And if you're being really you're paying a lot of attention. There's a lot of work that goes into identifying one's unique ability. There's a book on it. There's exercises to do. There's reaching out to your friends and family, asking them what they see in you. There's a lot of that goes on in this one. But just pay close attention to when you're doing something and you are lit up and you could do it for hours and time passes and you have no concept of time and you could just money off the table. Of course, we have to make a living, but you just know you're in that zone of genius. That's your unique ability. It brings you energy. You could do it forever. And you have a natural sense of growth in that area. In other words, you want to learn more and more and more and more. And all of your thought processes are surrounding that. You want to learn it, you want to be it, you want to do it, you want to experience it, you want to share it. That's how you know you're onto it. That's it. You're not
That's
doing
it
it. You're
right
you're
there.
you're slowly dying inside. You just don't. You probably won't admit that. That's a big thing.
Especially when that fire burns out, there's your hint to
Yeah.
feel that, what you just said. So many people listening today have achieved goals and maybe ones that they have even prayed for, but still feel stuck and unfulfilled. Why does success itself sometimes fail to create fulfillment? You spoke about that zone of excellence, that zone of genius, but a lot of us are able to be successful, but not be fulfilled. Why does that happen to us?
Well, it's because the word success is it's so subjective, and what does it mean ultimately? There's success in marriage, there's success in business, there's success in relationships, there's success, financial success, and the challenge with those is that you can say I'm successful, but at the heart of it, the best definition of success, and I will give proper attribution to the late Bob Proctor, but I think he got it from Earl Nightingale, and he said it's the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, and I'll
The
back that up.
deal.
In a second. So that
Yes,
this
this is
is
the
Earl
second
Nightingale.
time. Yeah.
So the progressive realization, I love this phrase because if you break it down, we get to understand what this means. The progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So a worthy ideal is something that we're moving towards. In my program, Infinite You, the first lesson of 12 lessons is establishing a worthy ideal. Because if we're not moving towards something that causes growth, that excites us, that gets us out of bed at 4:30 in the morning without an alarm clock, that really is a challenge, it scares us a little bit, then the whole thing crumbles upon itself because we have to be moving towards something for ultimate fulfillment. But
Mhm.
progressive, meaning we're working on it, it's day by day, it's happening, we're in movement, and then the realization, meaning it's something that you can see, it's off in the distance, but you're moving towards it, but it's becoming real day by day. I love that. That's a
Mhm.
really beautiful definition of success is when we're moving
Mhm.
towards something that in our heart we know is something that is worthy. Worthy of what? Well, worthy of trading our lives for it, which happens to be the
Mhm.
subtitle to my first lesson in my program. It's your life targets, goals worth trading your life for. Because if we don't admit that, we're trading our lives for all of these things that we're up to. Super.
Wow.
So I'd go with that
That's
definition. That's a good one.
it is, and I've had one other guest, a good friend of mine, bring that up
Mm.
a couple years ago, and one of the things we ask at the end of the show is, "What is your definition of success?" And sometimes I ask, "Has it changed over time?" Because of the exact I love that definition that you gave. I believe in it is. That's why I ask every guest because you'll see their definition because their wordy ideal for that phase of their life is so different. And that's how they will define. Some people are like, meeting reaching my message and my book, meeting so many people, spending time with my family, just having freedom. Right now, for my wordy idea is freedom. So I freedom to walk and live in my purpose on my time and create still balancing and having harmony in my life with things and people that are important to me. So, and that look differently at different times. My success would have been, making six-figure income and being able to impact 100 young people and seeing their lives transform and getting on back to their purpose. So it does change. So I love that wordy idea. I love it. Now, you use a phrase that says identity creates outcomes. I'm obsessed with this. Break that
You can
down first. Go
you
ahead.
can see it behind me too, identity before
Exactly.
strategy.
Yes.
And again, I'm gonna get in front of something. So because I'm a lifelong learner and a student and a coach of sales and influence, I am
Mm,
gonna get in front of. So I often say that before someone gives you an objection, just give it to them first. In other words, hey, I already know you're going to say this, so let me just go ahead and get that on the table and let's unravel that together. So let's unravel this identity before strategy
yes.
concept because again, I've been around long enough to know that there's going to be a camp or a group or someone listening to this that says, "Oh, although that's woo woo," like Yoder's saying we're going to sit in our house and just manifest stuff and want our success to come to us because identity before strategy would mean I'm going to sit around and think about this thing. I'm not going to go take action. Oh, back it up. Back it up. The thermostat on the wall is the best definition I can give, and I didn't make that one up either. These
Yes.
ideas come
Talk about that.
by virtue of listening and learning and putting it into practice. It's the best one that I've learned to apply to my life and others. So if you think about that, really understand Psycho-Cybernetics written by
Overnight
Maxwell
traits.
Maltz in the
Yes,
60s, the
cyber-cybernetics.
best book on self-image you can ever pick up, and it rocked my world because when I read that book, I have goosebumps right now saying those words.
Yes.
You know it resonates, and there's such depth in that. It has us understand that we have a set point, and if we're not getting what we want, it's because the set point's here, and we wanna be here. So if our goal is at 90 degrees and we happen to be operating at 70, there's a 20-degree delta between those 2 things, not to judge, but rather to improve and
Proof.
to level up and to
Mhm.
surround ourselves with people that are operating at 90 and to begin to take on the attributes of those that are. So all of those things, yes, but the deep inner work of self-image transformation is work that we must take upon ourselves and do when other people are sleeping, mostly,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then to go out in the world. Now here's the action part. So there's the identity before strategy, but then go out in the world and apply that which we are learning. So if I say today I'm going to be confident, for example, if confidence is a requirement of my next level, which it is, by the way.
Mm,
Now, confidence in a way that I feel congruent with what I'm saying, my thoughts, feelings, and actions are congruent. I think there's a confidence there. And
mhm.
that's important because if you want to move people in the positive direction of their goals and dreams, you better be confident in what you're talking about.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
then go out in the world and be confident in all of your actions. Every exchange is confident. When you meet, even at the smallest level, would be meeting the person checking out at the grocery aisle. Are you looking down? Are
Mm,
you connecting with your eyes straight with them? See, there's a confidence there. This is what I'm talking about. It's everything. How we do one thing is indeed how we do everything. And so break it to the smallest possible thing and be completely aware as where is confidence, if that's the example that we're using, where is that showing up and how is it not? How is your handshake? Is it timid? Is it like a floppy fish when you put it out there? Or are you confident? And why shouldn't you be? Because we're all the same. We all came from the same place. We're going back where we came from, right? I mean, let's be honest about that. There's no reason to be
very
not
good.
confident. So
Yes.
so there's an example of that. That's the best way I can describe this one here is it's both. It's a combination of doing the inner work, of adjusting the thermostat dial, and then going out in the world. And then what happens though is a cool part of that is it works in a really benevolent way because I'm doing this with my hand. Let me work with you on this. It's a cycle that moves upward and it's spiraling upward because it's growth and its expansion. Meaning, if I do the inner work, go out in the world and do it, then I go back to my inner chamber, my deep work
Mm,
every day, and then it informs that process, which then informs my actions, and then it keeps on going up and up, right? Now,
mhm.
if I were not to work on myself every day and do the inner work and then go out in the world and just try to like fake it till I make it, I'm not coming from a congruent place and I'm just applying, physically speaking, like the physical apparatus that we have, which we're spiritual and physical. I'm
Physical.
just using one part of that and not the greater part, not the strongest aspect of who I am.
Mhm,
So that's how I
mhm.
can describe that.
I'm with it 100%. So many high achievers and entrepreneurs, and even some of our people in the thought leadership space are obsessed with how do I get to six figures? How do I get to seven figures? How do I get to eight figures? How do I, you know, really impact 1 million people? And that's awesome. But that is for me, we look at even the late great Brock Proctor and so many others, Les Brown and John Maxwell. And I would even go veer to say ones we know now, like Mel Robbins,
Now, by the way, just quick aside. When you
Uh,
said ones we know now, this is how you know you're connected with somebody. The only name that popped in my head, a thought bubble, if you could reread it, was Mel Robbins. Now, you could have listed 10 others, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, I've got yeah, there's some
Yeah,
other people, Lisa
yeah.
Nichols and a bunch of
Yeah, but you
others,
said Mel
you know,
Robbins, which is awesome,
but
yeah.
Mel Robbins is top of my list because she is a mentor from afar for me. She's just so authentic. I love her. She shows up. And so when you listen to these individuals, none of them ever sat there and say, I want to be a multimillionaire in the thought leadership space. They didn't even know, really. They were intentional about living who they are and helping people get on their path and transform to begin with. They had a message and they let it out. And because they had done so much inner work before, they had a team that helped them strategize how to get this further. Now they got to pay hundreds of people, so they need multi-million dollars. They were focused on their inner work and they're like, hey, guys, I got this breakthrough. I've been changed. I want to tell you about it. Here's what I did. And I think if you try it, it'll help you too. And here comes all of us around the planet knows who they are, know what they teach. And so when I see people struggle and they're like, I can't seem to get it. I keep putting stuff out there, Alisa. How did you get your podcast?
Mm.
Guys, I wanted to come up here and tell people I had been broken. I wanted to give up and I didn't because I found out who I was and why I was here. And if you just give yourself enough time, you'll do it. That's where this podcast started. And that's why we're here. So,
Mm.
one of the things that caught my eyes, Kevin, with your work is you have this statement that you said paradigms are silently controlling most of our behavior. So, most of us don't wake up thinking about paradigms. Exactly. What are they?
So I was coached by Bob Proctor, which was really amazing, and I was a part of his he had a coaching
That's
program called
awesome.
Thinking into Results, and
Mm,
this program, there's an entire lesson on paradigms, and I didn't know what they were before. The best way to describe them is it's a multitude of thought habits that are basically resident in the subconscious. But I like to also add something to it because it wasn't actually trained to me this way. So I had to go deeper. Sometimes you learn something and you're still curious the way that you
that's just
are.
enough to teach you
And you're
more.
like, I need more. So I had to go,
Yeah.
I went deep on this one. So imagine if the paradigms are the lens through which we are viewing, taking in information, we all have a different lens. We're looking at the same thing because you posed a question at the beginning. How is it one person is in the same kind of place, but yet one person's outperforming the other one in whatever that
Mhm.
area is, whether it's income or success, as we defined it earlier. Our paradigms are controlling how we view this, we're taking it in, but why is it that someone's taking that information in and one would call it opportunity, the other one would call it extreme risk? What is
Mm,
that? Well, that's the paradigm at work because it fashions the way that we are going to perceive the information as it comes into us. And if one person is taking it in and calling it opportunity and they take action on that, now there's a self image at play too, though, right? Because they work in tandem, one feeds the other. And
mhm.
so if the other person's taking it in, they're calling it extreme risk. And then their self-image is in play and says, "Yeah, like, I don't believe that I could even make that happen." Well, then
Mhm.
this is exactly what happens. These 2 things are working together, the self-image and the paradigm, and it's driving. I went like this earlier. Now I'm gonna go like this way. It's a spiral
Mm,
downward. It goes nowhere, and in fact, it keeps us stuck, but worse than that is it has this
mhm.
sort of reversing backwards. If the world is a constant evolution and a state of advancement and growth and expansion, and if we're not growing and expanding with the world and the universe, then
Yes.
we're actually moving backwards. And that's what happens. So we're not just stuck, we're actually slipping back. It's like you know, burying thousands of dollars in your backyard thinking you're saving money, but yet inflation's at 4% today. So guess what? You're losing 4%. In this way, it's happening the same way. That's how paradigms either benefit us or work against us. And if you don't
Mhm.
understand what they are, they're certainly probably not working for you. You could have them working for you subconsciously because of programming. If you were if you had an upbringing that was supportive of this conversation and an installment within you of belief in success and worthiness, you have positive paradigms probably backed by a self-image that is adjustable, but you may not be able to articulate the reasons that this is the case, which you can't
Mm,
transfer it, but it could be working for you. But
exactly.
mostly they're working against us because we're subconsciously it's happening.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it. And so, how does the subconscious patterns get created? Like you talk about the childhood, the environment, the failure, the trauma, and those repeated experiences. Are those part of those paradigms that we talk? It goes back into there. How does that subconscious pattern get created, really?
Well, you've heard the phrase, "Give me the child for his first 7 years, and I'll show you the man."
Mm,
Hmm. So, if you really think about it, like, let's talk about the dinner table. Now, I had a dinner table. We all had dinner tables when we were growing up. What was the conversation swirling around that dinner table? That's gonna form now, we talk about the first 7 years, and we understand that there's trauma, there's there's situations that happen after 7 years that definitely
mhm,
impact our paradigms, and, Bob used to say that there's only 3 ways to change a paradigm, and one is through, like death, something like that, like drastic,
mhm.
and something you really don't want, like, like a
A
global pandemic
divorce?
will rock your paradigm, a divorce,
Yeah.
or through something called constant spaced repetition, CSR, as I teach in my program. So take that concept of constant spaced repetition. If this is one way we adjust the paradigm, which is basically, what is a belief? This one gets
Mm,
people all worked up.
it does. It does.
What
It
is a
does. I
belief?
would love to
And
hear
and the
it.
answer to the question is a belief. Now, we don't this is something that people are gonna misinterpret what I'm gonna say. A belief is nothing more than something that we continue to hear and think about over and over and over again until such time that we adopted it as true. That's what a belief is.
Mhm.
Now,
Mhm.
I'm not getting into the spiritual aspect of that or religion. I'm saying that even our spiritual and our religious beliefs are based on an idea that was introduced to us over and over and over again until such time that we adopted it as true, as my own personal truth.
Yes.
And that goes for
Yes.
religion. It does. Because
It does.
if
That's
you grew
exactly
up
how
in
religion
Baptist
works.
house and your neighbor was a Catholic, well, let's be honest, it's because the parents said, "Here's who we are." Oh, this is
Right.
who we are, right? Okay, so this is who we are. This is this identity. Let me just go ahead and put it right here in my heart because that's who we
Mhm.
are. And I'm
Mhm.
never gonna question that because it was constant spaced repetition in the formative years until such time that it becomes a part of who we are, our very fabric. And that goes
Mhm.
for confidence, and it goes for timidity, and it
Ooh.
goes for wealth and abundance, and it goes for lack and limitation. It goes for
Ooh.
everything. So if you wanna get to the heart of the matter is think about those conversations. Here's the benefit. 2
Yes.
things here, is this does not give us a ticket to blame mom and dad. No, because
Come on.
they were doing the best they could with their
Mhm.
programming from their parents. Okay,
Yes.
so now we know that, but it does give us a clue and a piece of the puzzle, which is if this is how these things got formed within us, constant space repetition, we can use the same process to enact deep change within us now based on a worthy ideal. Here's what I'm going
Mhm.
after. However, I'm at a 70, I want to get to a 90, and I understand my self image is set this way. Why? Well, it's because my upbringing probably told me that money doesn't grow on trees. So I believe that
Yes.
my cap is at 100,000, but my buddy's making 500. I'm frustrated as hell because I want to provide for my family better, but I don't think I'm worthy of that. Ooh, there it is.
Ooh.
So you see that? That's how that works, and that's how you change it is through constant spaced repetition. Something that at work, it's a big part of my work. It's I reinforce it in every lesson over and over and over again. I reinforce constant spaced repetition through constant space
Space
repetition,
repetition, because
right?
that's the only way we're gonna
Well,
make the
look,
shift, and we're gonna
read a
shift the
book.
paradigm.
If you read a book, okay, look, got it?
Think
Okay,
and grow rich. Yes.
by Napoleon Hill. Now, how many people have read the book? By a show of hands, if we had an audience here, we'd have the hands going up because of your audience, right?
Yes. We've read it many
Now,
times.
now the question is, okay, how many people have grown rich by virtue of what they have read in the book? Bob Proctor had a Think and Grow Rich book on his desk, and he had it wrapped in several rubber bands. And he would pull it out and he'd read just a section. And there were notes, and it was all worn and tattered. And he'd say, someone told me once that Napoleon Hill spent 30 years of his life putting this book together by interviewing the most successful people in the world. Da 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 da. He goes and he said, "Well, then I think that because of that, I should spend the rest of my life applying that which I have read in the book. So he understood constant space repetition and knew that the only way to get this stuff from here into here is to repeat it over and over again. And you'll find yourself going through the book one time. And if you read it a second time a year later, if you're doing this
It's
work,
like
it's new
different book.
material to you. It's a different book.
That's we do it
100%. Like,
every
I
year.
didn't
We
read
do it
that.
every year.
No, you changed so much so that the paradigm, watch this real quick. Your paradigm shifted. So now the book information's coming at you, and you're like,
What?
what? Right?
Exactly.
It's mind-blowing to how much we can
It's
grow in a
yes.
very short period of time if we're doing the work.
The
That's
work.
what
Do
yeah,
the work. I have
yeah.
to do this. Oh, I love that. This segment is just fire. Listen, I wish I had smoke for the screen,
Oh,
guys.
I wish you did too. I'm gonna have to light a
I'm telling
sparkler.
you, it's so much fire. Like, and it's all, oh my goodness. But let's tackle another one because we're on fire already. You
Yeah.
say fear is unconverted power. Kevin, it is I have not said it this way, but it's a way that I teach and I talk about.
Mm,
I love that so much. Explain what it means. How do we
yeah.
stop treating fear like an enemy and start using it as fuel?
Okay, so I'm so glad you brought this up because I'm gonna give you something real, okay? So
Mhm,
fear is unconverted growth energy.
mhm.
There's cliches, and I kinda steer away from a little bit just because not because they're not true, but because it's so overused that people then automatically clump it in that box. But, Joseph Campbell said that the cave we fear to enter holds the treasure we seek. So if you say that, automatically, again, that group I don't know who that group is, but they're out there. They're like, "Oh, that
Yes.
sounds" so let's not follow it. But, oh, ho, back it up. I yeah.
We'll be back after a quick break.
And now an exciting growth opportunity for you.
Hey, Mindset Mastery Moments family. I'm Dr. Kareem Ellis. And if you've been listening to Dr. Lisa, chances are you already know you have a message, a purpose, or an expertise that can make a real difference. The question is, are you positioning yourself and that message in a way that creates impact and greater income? You see, that's exactly what I'm going to be teaching in my free live masterclass titled Why Talented Speakers Stay Broke. I'm going to show you the biggest mistakes talented speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs, and leaders make, and more importantly, how you can avoid it. I'd love for you to join me. Simply visit the gpsspeakersacademy.com/free class to reserve your free seat. And if you are listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, don't worry one bit. The registration link is waiting for you in the episode description. Thank you, Dr. Alisa Whyte, for allowing me to serve your amazing community. And to all the rest of my peeps out there, I can't wait to see you in class.
I'm a mountain biker. My son Henry is 16 and he takes me on these wild journeys. And we got into extreme downhill mountain biking. Okay. So
Yeah.
now we're in Michigan, which is kind of a flat state. We hop on planes and we go around the country and we go
Mhm.
more extreme, more extreme, more extreme. So we went on this adventure last week and we were out in Whistler, Canada. And we flew the family out, but Henry and I went out and mountain biked. And he's been watching these YouTube videos, Dr. Lisa, of these guys going down these and then hitting these jumps, and then they fly the bike in the air and they
Mhm.
fly for periods of, like feet. And I'm like looking at that going, I'm not gonna hit that. There's no way. I'm not at my age. I'm training for a marathon. I can't have the injury, you know what I mean? So we
Yeah.
get out there and he takes me to this particular ride path down, and it's
Mhm.
called Dirt Merchant. And this thing is a beast. We get to this hill and we both stop our bikes. It was a drop. And I look down and I go, no way is this body going over that because it dropped down about 12 feet. I'm like, I'm not doing it. No way. And he's like, well, let's step back for a second. We watched these other guys go across it. They jumped it, they landed. And I just looked at them and looked at Henry. He goes, well, they're doing it. And so, it's possible. And I was so afraid. It was the fear of when I jumped out of an airplane the first time, and it
Mm.
was that sort of level of fear, and I just said, "You know what? let's go. We're here. So we went back up and we came down and he went first and then I launched and I landed
Mm.
and I didn't die. In fact, what happened was
Didn't
as soon as my bike hit the ground and I got stability underneath me, I had the biggest sense of euphoria because all of a sudden I realized that I can do this thing too. And so just like it's an analogy that really fits everywhere. It literally is the secret. It's like the thing that we're afraid of is literally the thing we should as long as it's not. Now someone could argue with me and say, dude, that's dangerous. But okay, as long as it's not like stupid dangerous. Now I'm great on a bike. I'm fast on a bike. Henry's much faster than me. He makes fun of me. But for my age, I'm fast on a bike. I have good agility. I'm strong. I wiped out 3 times. And when I wipe out, I know how to crash in such a way that I can roll and not kill myself. Okay. So all those things are in place. Yet this hill, this drop was way beyond anything I ever wanted to do, most 99% because of fear. And once I did it, I realized that whoa, like this is not the thing I had said it was. No, I do not recommend people go out and do that right now. Please do not. You will kill yourself if you have skill and you're up to it. But it's just like anything else. It's the thing, run towards it. It's like public speaking was for me. I was my face would turn red. I would get clammy. I would stutter, stammer, all these things that just prevented me from being able to say what I wanted to say because I was so afraid of doing it. And then I joined Toastmasters, and then I gave a speech, and then I gave another speech, and then I gave another speech. And then I was the president of Toastmasters. Then I joined speech contests, and I went to the district level and the regional level. And why? How? Come to find out, confidence is gained by doing. And the
Doing.
only way to do it is to identify the things that you're really afraid of and realize that that is the thing you really need to run towards as long as it fits within the framework of your worthy ideal. Like just don't go run off and I don't know. I can't give you an example right now, but if you don't aim to be a race car driver, then don't get behind the wheel
Don't
in race
don't
cars,
just
right?
do that.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
exactly.
but spending time with my son and being a part of a sport that lights me up like that and still gives me that like rush and hanging out
Mm,
with my son, this is what I want to do for
that's wonderful.
recreation. So that fed that, and now we can do more and more. Now what?
I
So there's a
love
real
it.
life example.
I love it. I love it. That was so good. And practical application time, if that wasn't practical enough, we
Yeah,
want
I
to
mean,
go, right? If someone's listening today, Kevin, and they feel stuck, overwhelmed, or frustrated with where they are, what's the first thing they should do this week? Not 6 months from now, this week.
the first thing is the first thing. Put first things first. So we talk about the
Mm-hmm.
self-image and the thermostat. So that might be a concept that is new or the paradigm, for example.
Yes.
But so there's a reason why my lesson progresses the individual through. I've been working on this for over 4.5 years. Deep thought, there's a progress involved with this, which is moving you from goal setting through paradigm shifting, through self-image alteration, through understanding what the common denominator of success is and how to live into that, through the subconscious mind, conscious mind relationship and how to enact that for positive change in your life. And then progressing through attitude shifting and adjusting into being a force of good in the world through sales, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And all these things, but it starts off with the very first thing, and I already shared that with you, is identifying what your worthy ideal is. I
Mm-hmm.
have my students lock into 2 goals. One is a personal goal and the other one is a business goal. And
Mm,
the reason why this is so critical is because most people have never centered in on a goal that's meaningful, that moves them, that gives them purpose, that has them stretching, scares them a little bit. Jumping off a mountain. That wasn't really a goal. That was more of a whim.
yeah,
But
you
but
stumbled
but
on
you
it for
understand.
a reason. Yeah.
Yeah, the starting point of this is to set a goal that causes growth in the process, something that's meaningful, and it better be meaningful because if it's just a a knee-jerk reaction, or I want to lose 5 pounds. Well, that could be a goal, I suppose, but it's not the thing I'm talking about here. This has to be
Right.
something that you could say, well, why is that important? And then you'd answer that. And then someone would say to you, well, why is that important? And you want to
Mhm,
go 6 levels deep on that, because at the end of that, if you're almost in tears for the importance of this goal, you're on it. You're on it.
mhm.
If not, then you're probably not on it. So set the goal, figure out something that really moves you, and it would allow you to grow in the process. You've never done it before. There's definitions for this. Never done it before, causes growth in the process. You're a different person once you've arrived, if it's an aspirational identity that you're seeking, or you have. What if your goal
Mhm.
is to own an oceanfront home? That's beautiful.
Right.
Once you have that home, you need to be a different person than you are today, right? Because
Yes, you
oceanfront
do.
homes aren't cheap these days. So do you have to evolve your level of influence, your level of confidence, your level of salesmanship, your marketing skills probably have to increase, all these facets. So when you get the house, you're different. So
Mhm.
there's an example. So I would center it on the goal. I have people understand that without a goal, it's like you're on a bicycle that just falls over. You're not
Yeah.
moving towards something. If you remove the goal from the equation of all these things we're talking about, we walk in circles. We don't know what we're up to, but we focus in on things that are quite trivial. In the absence of a
Yeah.
well-defined goal, we find ourselves strangely loyal to life's trivialities, and that's what happens. So center in on something that's meaningful. That's the first thing to do.
Mm, that's the first thing to do. First things first. I love it. Let's go to our flip the script section, Kevin, and I didn't prepare you for this, so everyone knows we're doing it in a rapid fire form. I
Mm.
ask a question, you give us the first best thing that comes to mind.
Oh, boy. Here we
You
go.
ready?
I'm ready.
Drum roll, please. What's one habit every high performer needs?
Yeah, okay. One habit every high performer needs is the ability to self-regulate and do so quickly. Self-regulation, for sure.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
What's more dangerous, fear or a comfort zone?
Comfort zone, for sure. Yeah, that's dangerous. I mean, fear isn't dangerous. Fear is
Yeah, fear,
natural.
because comfort
Yeah,
zones are fed by fear, right?
yeah, and people
They
get that
sort of,
confused.
yes,
I mean
and fear is not a bad thing. It's what you do when you feel fear.
no, exactly right. You got that. Yeah.
What's one belief you had to unlearn yourself?
Ooh, yeah. I would say a belief in my ability to accomplish what I set my sights on. I didn't I
Ooh, believe
didn't
that.
just come I didn't come about this naturally. I had a very I was I didn't believe in myself. Let me just my upbringing wasn't one that was fostered that belief system, and I had to learn this about myself, that if I put my sights on something and I really want to do it, I will get it done. I will light a fire under that thing,
Mm,
for
I
sure.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
What's one thing people think creates success that actually doesn't?
Mm, one thing that people think creates success that actually doesn't. This sounds cliche, but I think people think that money creates success, and it actually doesn't. But yet it's useful. It solves problems, and yeah, it's an effect. It's an effect of value creation.
Mm,
So
mm,
let's just put it in its proper place. Money. Money solves problems and gives us access. And for those reasons, it's very much a part of our thought processes every day. So very useful, very meaningful, very very helpful in the area that it's meant to be, but it doesn't cause success. It's the effect of value creation in the marketplace.
I love that. Finish the sentence. Your future changes the moment you.
Mm. The moment you step into the version of yourself that you were created for. Yeah. I really
Didn't say
that
that
hit.
myself.
That hit. That land.
Let's give you a cheer, Kevin. That was so good. Oh my gosh, that was so good. So good. My soul is filled. Kevin,
So is mine.
you have created the U framework and you work with individuals. Tell us who you work with and a little bit about how you do it.
So the being in real estate for so long, folks automatically, when I said I'm creating a coaching program, it's called Infinite U, the letter U, which is symbolic of you, and also the university, meaning creating an ecosystem around this conversation. So much like
Of
you are.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I didn't want to center this coaching around only real estate agents, although they clearly would help
Why they're there.
anybody that's in the entrepreneur space or business owners. So the way that I work with folks, it's entrepreneurs really have a burning desire the way you do to help entrepreneurs unlock their greatest potential through this work that we've talked about today. And
Mhm.
the way that I accomplish that is through a very systematic process within the Infinite You program. I have given a lot of thought, time, energy, money, attention, digging into deep psychology and science, what actually enacts change, and put it together in a program that I don't believe exists today. And I'm super excited to bring this to the world. Up
Yeah.
until I was I built Infinite You, I've been coaching through Bob's program called Thinking into Results. So that is sort of the basis of my learning and how I began to coach entrepreneurs. We
Yeah.
do it through obviously that systematic way. I do coaching one-on-one with select clients, and my passion is here. This is what I love to do the most is engage in these conversations with entrepreneurs, identify what the roadblocks are, help them identify goals that are meaningful for them, remove the mental barriers that are going to get in the way because they are. Just because I said I
Mhm.
want that doesn't mean I'm going to be able to get it unless I can get to the
Yes.
heart of the matter of what's stopping me, right? Because we'll just continue
Yeah.
to start stop and and help as many people as I possibly can along the way with this process.
And you are so phenomenal at it. I am honored to be in
Mm,
your presence from one human to
thank
the
you.
next. This brings me so much
It's
joy
mutual.
to meet a brother who is doing this kind of work, who has done the kind of work and continue to do the kind of work for himself, and then bring other people to their own full realization without being woohoo people. Stop judging us. We don't care. Okay. So tell us how we can connect with you. What's your favorite way? What's going on? What you got coming up and how we can be a part of it.
Well, that's thank you for asking. So if you want to, if this, I put out a lot of content on YouTube. If you want to check me out there, go to Infinite You by Kevin. So there's on
Yes.
YouTube. Same with Facebook. They're the same. Infinite You by Kevin. And you is the
Mhm.
letter U. And
Yes.
then speaking of Infinite You, the website is infiniteu.com. So infinite, letter U.com. It's the website's up. We haven't done a full launch, but you can go there and you can check out what we're all up to there. And basically it walks you through who I am, what the program, more importantly, not about who I am, but what this program is and how it can help you move from where you are to where you want to go and do it so it sticks. And because this is not shelf help. This is not like quickly read a book and just glance through it. It's the deep work, okay? There is I'll give you a URL for a landing page that if this self-image conversation resonates with you, there's a reason for it. It resonated with me, and it's the greatest thing that I've learned. And I would call it the linchpin of the program because it rests sort of at that midpoint where we've worked on goals, we've worked on paradigms, we understand the relationship between the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and how to work that so the body takes action finally in a positive way. Then we get to the self-image and we realize we have a lot of work yet to do. It's yournextimage.com,
Image.
yournextimage.com. It'll bring you to a landing page. Watch the little video there, and it's just a quick little explainer on what the self-image and how this particular lesson, because it's important to know that I've created a program that allows entrepreneurs to enter into a lesson that resonates with them the most,
Yes.
and or they can enact with the entire Infinite You program, which is the 12 lessons that are a part of it. And I think if you find yourself in one of the lessons, you might just go, "Oh, wow, okay." What did he mention paradigms? Because we cross pollinate these things. You know, we have
Yes.
These don't just operate in a silo. So I would just go there. Go to yournextimage.com. Check that out. And if it resonates, there's a good reason for it. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about it and engage in a conversation with you.
Yes, absolutely. And you all know we're going to have Kevin back on season 4 as much as he would let us. Listen, all the links are going to be in the description, so you have not to go digging for anything. It's right there. You're hearing this right now for a reason. Click the links in the description wherever you're watching or listening to this episode across the globe. Kevin, thank you so much for serving us at Mindset Mastery Moments today. And we're so happy you're part of our community as well, and to be connected with you. Oh my goodness, disruptors. Today's conversation reminds us that transformation isn't just about changing what you do. It's about changing who you believe you are, because your life will rarely outperform your identity for very long. If this conversation challenged you, inspired you, or made you think differently, share it with someone who needs it. And remember, your current circumstances do not have the final say, but your mindset does. Set it in the direction that you would like to go. Think, speak, do, become. Until next time, keep disrupting limitations, mastering your mindset, and living on purpose. I'm Dr. Alisa with Kevin saying we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here. Thanks so much.